Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Jagged Edge. This is Ian here along with Chris.
What's up? Just gonna warn you, I'm a little grumpy today.
Grumpier than the grumpy cat?
Yeah, I'm pretty grumpy.
That's pretty, yeah. So steer clear, I'll be at least 20 feet away. That's okay, because I'm usually way more than 20 feet away from you anyway, so
Yeah,
I'm in safe range.
about what? You're 1,500 miles away?
Yeah, about.
Yeah, right about there. Well, all right.
We
There's that.
we are recently I say recently like it's long in the past. We are both just coming off of Blade Runner. You can check into our channel if you want to see the review for that. See our thoughts, reviews, non-spoiler and spoiler, of course. There's been a lot of talk about this one, and I think rightfully so.
Oh yeah.
But be sure to dig in later if you want to hear from us a bit more about that. As always, there's a ton going on. We got, as far as events, the New York Comic Con is going on right now. It's not over yet. I think it's closing tomorrow, so I'm sure there's probably still at least a couple of announcements out there. But there have been a couple little cool tidbits, info. We got a lot of show and movie info this week. No shortage of that. That's one thing I love. We were talking about this last week, going into the holiday season and fall season. Man, no shortage.
No, not
So,
a lot. Not a lot of good though either.
yeah, there's some real stinkers in here too.
Oh yeah.
we'll
We're gonna talk about that.
yeah, and
That's gonna probably make me feel all better.
we got one right at in fact, I think right at the top of our list.
Yeah, let's not wait anymore.
No. We spoke about this one in the same vein as Humans. We were talking about it. It was another one that was on our radar, actually alongside I was going to say Star Wars. Wow, Star Trek. But this is The Gifted. The Gifted premiered this week. Here is our amazing, panoramic, sweeping, cinematic take back into the X-Men universe in show form. Right, Chris?
It's shit. This was garbage. I think out of the three big shows that we were waiting for this season, Star Trek, Inhumans, and The Gifted. I think for me, The Gifted, even though I was really hoping Inhumans was going to be good, but it was looking bad ever since we got pictures of it and such.
Yeah.
But The Gifted started changing for me. And so I think I was looking forward to this one the most, which is probably why it's the biggest letdown, because this was really just...
Yeah.
This was just bad. I mean, the last couple movies have been really good. Well, I guess not the last couple. There was X-Men Apocalypse. That was that was all right. That was watchable. But you had Deadpool, you had Logan, and coming off of that, this is I just don't understand why they make shows like this.
It's almost going along the lines of when you try to cash in on a popular game and you do an adaptation of it. We've got this issue, I think, of converting especially like a comic series back into a show, or coming off the heels of a really, really long running movie series. Here we have with X-Men. You know what? I just saw this as of last night, so I didn't catch the official premiere, but one of my biggest peeves about this is it sort of instantly zoomed me out of the X-Men universe. That wasn't the first thing I thought about when seeing this. More so kind of along the lines maybe a generic sci-fi.
Generic sci-fi is right.
I think there's a lot of fan sentiment out there though that isn't quite along the same lines. I think from what I've been seeing so far, this is getting panned less than Inhumans did. I think people are waiting to see what this is going to do and give it a bit of a chance. The whole theme of mutants on the run and everything else, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not feeling that footprint of the X-Men legacy here. And hey, I don't need Cyclops, Storm, the whole gang running around to make that an experience. The whole cheesy insignia deal, but there's a lot of room to do a lot here. Wolverine, Nightcrawler, all the characters that we follow so much, they aren't the entire universe. We were talking a bit about this recently, in fact, last night. One of the coolest things about X-Men is that you have such an amazing board of villains, and they're all awesome. You can make stories for about any of them and make something compelling. That's not just Brotherhood. That's not just Sinister, Magneto. Like the list goes on and on. It's just odd that I guess we can't base one of those lines here, into a series adaptation and make a run at that. It feels like this is right for it, but I don't. It just doesn't have much appeal right now.
No, that's because it's shallow and it's garbage, and it is comic book show by numbers. There's no heart here. I don't think it's inappropriate to compare this to Legion, which is the other X-Men show that came out to FX and Fox. So basically the same company. Yes, I know there's some differences, but your creative direction at the tippy top is the same. Legion basically has one guy that anyone knows anything about, which I think is a fair comparison to say that he's more of a lesser known character. That, of course, being Legion himself. I mean, you really have to be a fairly big X-Men fan to know who that is right off the bat. So I compared to that because that show, even though I wasn't a big fan of the fact that it was kind of a bait and switch as far as what the character is and what the show was, what they said the show was even going to be about, was still well done for what it was. It was still very interesting, lots of depth, lots of character development, plenty to do. This show, The Gifted, felt like the exact opposite. And again, you're still delving from the same creative pool, so to speak, as far as where you're getting ideas and what you're doing. And with all the things that they could do from the X-Men comics and such, even from the movies, it's just like, we got this. This is it. And just the concept, the concept itself of a family, especially with the father who helps put away mutants, who helps put them in prison, and then his two kids end up being mutants. That concept in of itself sounds interesting. I think I said a long time ago when we talked about this, and they had said that they weren't going to base these characters on any mutants from the comics or anything. Right. I think that was I thought that was a bad idea, and it's not that it can't work, but I think just from what I've seen from the movies and what I'm used to seeing in these scenarios for these TV shows, that just sounds like a horrible idea, and it is. It's a really bad idea. Everything is so bland. Everything is so basic. I felt like I was watching something that thought maybe it was groundbreaking 15, 20 years ago. But none of it was. It was boring. It was so boring. And while the characters that we do know from the X-Men universe, from the comics, I think those choices of those characters were great. How they came across on screen was horrible.
Yeah, part of it, and I'm almost wondering if this is suffering from what I call like a bad version of like the Ultimate syndrome. That is, in the Ultimate series from Marvel, you always had far younger versions of characters who are set in slightly different timelines, or maybe some events hadn't occurred yet that you knew that character was based on and stuff like that. But the trouble is, we're not given any of that. There isn't anything to anchor this right now, which really makes it feel like it's sort of cast adrift. I'd love to see direction besides the teenage struggles, besides the high school struggles, the real basic stuff. What's the arc? Like what are they pointing at, encountering? Well, who's the is there any hint of the villain, or any hint of like their overall goal they're looking into? I mean,
there's not even a hint of what's going on in this world. All we get is that the X-Men and the Brotherhood are gone. So, but why and how? Yeah. This is part of the X-Men universe, but you're not telling me anything. It's not like we can go by the movies and pick what happened, because there's multiple storylines and multiple timelines as far as what's happened there.
So, with that, in the one hand, I get trying to make some distance in the original storyline and say, all right, we're done with that. Okay, that's fine to close the book. but in the same hand, you sort of have to answer where the book is closed. We have a lot
Right.
of winding, we have a lot of twisting. I think even something simple to the very gritty world that Logan represented. Are we picking up from that point? After that, are we starting more after X Men? What was that? X Men 3 with Jean Grey or Phoenix? Dark
Yeah,
Phoenix.
yeah.
Yeah, are we picking up directly after that? Or are we in the middle when it's based weird?
Yeah, or are we in the same world or alteration of the X-Men universe that Deadpool's from, which we
Right.
don't even know if where he's from? See, this we've gone on this rant a few times, so I don't think I need to reiterate any of that. But this is, you know, it's it almost feels like by saying that this was part of the X-Men universe, that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, what are you getting from that? Uh, so I mean, you're not going to see if you ever maybe you'll see some of the more well-known X-Men from the comics and such that they haven't put in the films. But
Right.
even if they pull some of those X-Men, some of those mutants from the films, the chances of them being the same actor are slim to none. You have like we were talking about this before the show. Patrick Stewart does whatever he loves to do. I mean, his last movie
Yep.
he played poop. Just because he's freaking Patrick Stewart and he can. He loves doing stuff like this. He still voices I forget the character's name on American Dad, the FBI director. He does what he wants. I'm sure he would love to do this. The only time I think at this point that we've seen any real crossover from movie to TV show has been Agents of Shield. We get Easter eggs and we get people mention things, but that's the only time I think we've ever actually seen it still.
Right.
And it's go for it. Here's your opportunity to do something awesome. I'm sure a guy like Patrick Stewart would love to do it.
Oh yeah.
But I not that he necessarily, maybe you don't even necessarily use him right now because it doesn't seem like there's really a place for it right now and where the direction the show's going. But this is just, I just did not give a crap about anything that was going on, and it was just so shallow and such overly done, and everything just felt so cookie cutter and just generic. And I get maybe because I mean, I don't want to say I'm not
Yeah.
an X-Men fan because I do try to enjoy, and I do enjoy him. Logan was one of my favorite movies of the year so far.
Yeah.
And I don't. Yeah, this is just. I struggle with this because like I said, coming into this, I thought this was going to be the one I liked the most.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's just. I mean, and when they came up, I'm sorry, spoilers here. When they came up with the pregnancy angle, I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
know exactly what he's going to do now. Oh boy! Oh look, he didn't let me down one bit. Look at they caught him. They caught him. Oh, but that guy didn't get away. No,
Oh boy.
it's just, hey, if you're loving it, God bless you. Enjoy The Gifted. Maybe it'll turn around. But from what I saw,
Yeah.
no. I now you and I disagreed on this a little bit. I don't know which one's worse, this or the Inhumans. I don't know. And
uh,
Inhumans was really bad.
yeah. I. It's so. This one could like put the nail in its own coffin a little quicker. Honestly, as far as like the grind, I think. I don't know what it was, man. I was taken out of Inhumans a little faster than this. And I guess that's partly because I'm sitting here roaming, searching for okay, where are you trying to base this? Am I just
Mm-hmm.
missing? Am I forgetting some X-Men lore? Am I maybe there's something really subtle I'm missing? Like I'm feeling out all those clues. And to be fair, I just have a better foundation with X-Men than I do in Humans. I know that could very well be part of it too, but I don't know. And Humans is still in the bottom of my stack out of the two.
Yeah, well, I think what bothers me the most is that even, and I watch Agents of Shield, but even then, for a show that I generally enjoy, I've even noted that has been spotty at times, and sometimes is really bad.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sorry about that. But I mean, besides the Netflix shows we're seeing really bad trends here for these TV comic book shows.
We are.
And I mean, we've got a lot. That excludes the DC shows. Obviously, those have caught their audience, and those are doing what they're doing, and good on them.
Right.
But we're talking about these other shows, and specifically these Marvel shows, with the exception of the Netflix ones. I mean, we have a lot more coming. We've got the Runaways, we've got Cloak and Dagger, we've got the New Warriors. Oh, I am not excited. I am not excited.
I guess that's the worst part. There's such an explosion of these. You know, you say it's like you throw enough against the wall, something will stick. Maybe not. I mean, I understand when you get some success and you want to cash in off that and throw in some of the lesser known series, the lesser known characters. But if you fire these out at submachine gun speed, hold on a minute. Take some care to craft that bullet.
You know, I guess, maybe something to wonder is, are these going to get bad enough to where they'll affect the movies? Yeah, that's an interesting one to think about. Now, that being said, Legion was well done.
Yeah.
Won't take anything away from that, although, except for the fact that it was a little bit of bait and switch, like I've said before. But, this sucks. I don't like this.
And I think one good thing, a takeaway from Legion that I'm really hoping other future shows borrow from. I didn't feel Legion, even though it winked and nodded at X-Men at little points, it didn't take that whole banner in front of itself, advertising itself as, so look at me, Marvel, X-Men universe, look at, it was a strong enough story by itself to really say, hey, take a look at this character. We're going to throw some hints at you here and there, but he has his own unique story to tell. He's dealing with his own unique situation, and they really, really immerse you in that. That's great, and that gives really good room for character growth, character development, and to get you involved in that story. So,
well, yeah, and in fact, most of those characters that were in there, I believe, were brand new.
Mm-hmm.
The main villain, so to speak, was not, but they even did their own spin on that.
Yep.
It's Legion stood on its own. This show cannot even crawl with the Marvel and X-Men name on it. It can't. No. Okay, so the question I have is, do you think this makes it past the first season? Or actually, no, let me ask you two questions. Do you think it even makes the entire run on TV for the first season?
That's highly in question right now. I don't think so.
You think they'll even take it off the air before the season's done?
Well, I want to say I think they hit Inhumans before this. Honestly, that's just because of my opinion of the two. But I think if it tanks enough, they'll get enough attention to I think take that down a few pegs. If the interest though keeps at where it's at now with that whole 69 kind of 70% range, could make it.
Yeah. Wait, do you think it makes it past the first season? Do you think they get in order for season 2?
No, I don't. Not right now. I don't see it. Color me surprised if we do get some announcement for season 2, because I don't even know what they want to base one off of. So I don't see it.
I wish I give it a 50-50 chance it doesn't make it past season 1. We don't even get to see all the episodes, but I think if it does, we're going to deal with at least 3 seasons of this trash. If it makes money,
yeah, hey.
But the funny thing about that is that, I mean, there's nothing even coming out to support it. In the next couple of years, we got New Mutants, Deadpool 2, the Phoenix Saga.
Right.
None of these things, as far as we can tell, are related to this at all.
No.
But they're all in the same universe.
Therein lies the worry. Ah, boy.
Yeah. All right. The Gifted. There it is.
Well, we didn't come bearing a gift with that, but
you think Inhumans will die first?
Yeah.
I think you're right. I don't know because like we talked about last week, Disney might just prop it up.
True.
They may just make it. Hey, do another season and you'll like it.
You're not stopping.
At the same time, I don't know. The production value on that was pretty bad. I don't know. Yeah,
So
yeah. I don't. Maybe I just won't watch. Maybe I'll just watch The Punisher next month.
there you go.
Next month.
Ah, man, so good.
Hire those people. In fact, just have an episode where the Punisher shows up and just shoots all the Inhumans,
End of show.
and then just announce at the end of it, the Punisher will now be seen on ABC Monday nights, along with his Netflix show. It'll be just as nasty on both stations. Get ready.
Oh, that'd be a hilarious transition into a series, man.
No, that or what my story about how Thanos shows up and just crushes him.
Oh yeah, there was
That
that
would be
too.
great.
But I mean, if he did that is perfectly in line with that character and a lot of canon too. Hey,
Yeah,
well, no better time than now.
that'd be great.
Speaking of Netflix, now this caught me off guard. What's the deal with this? The price hike,
Yep,
man.
there it is. Price is going up.
For U.S. people only, huh?
Just us.
That's it.
Now, I looked into a couple sources. I could see if that's maybe because they're bringing U.S. prices in line with other countries, other regions. I don't know, but just U.S. subscribers are getting a price hike.
Man. And I think
There you go.
there's a couple of changes in that. And it's not, $5, $10. What was this here? Standard subscriptions going up from $9.99 to $10.99. You got premium plans going up from $11.99 to $13.99, and the basic plan staying at $7.99.
Yep.
So, and this is coming on the heels of an announcement for Netflix that they're going to invest $7 billion into programming for next year.
I am not excited about that at all because they just. Well, they didn't announce where it was going, so
Right.
First of all. But secondly, and I really enjoy a lot of Netflix programming. They've done a lot of great stuff, especially in the last couple of years.
Right.
But they also do a lot of crap. So I don't know where that money's going, so I'm not excited about it.
Right.
What kind of subscription do you have?
I have the standard.
It's standard. I got standard too.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, Ultra HD and 4K. I'm saying,
I'm not.
I
I'm
don't
not. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not on board with that yet. I mean, my recent PC. I mean, yeah, I can do 4K, but the thing about 4K is kind of annoying. Like, you want to have the right monitor settings or the right TV or whatever you're viewing off to catch that right in the first place. Then you got to have a system with the right output. And I don't need that. It's fine. Like I call me old fashioned, but when we got HDMI and whatnot, and we were able to do things at like 720 or even 1080, that's fine with me. Or like even a little less. I don't need this. It's so detailed. I can see like every bead of sweat down to the pixelated grain. That's okay. The quality's high enough. You're fine.
Agreed. Agreed. So think about what you got from Netflix from last year, though.
Yeah.
We got a lot of Marvel, a lot of great comedy, a lot of great stand-up. You got some decent movies out of them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth $10.99?
Definitely. All that being said, I still
And Voltron.
and Voltron, yes, I still don't have an issue with subbing. That this is not something to run me off. The thing that brought me to Netflix in the first place is still in place. I love that there's such an archive of classic films and things that I can find here that I have not been able to find elsewhere, and there's enough originals and new content to really, I think, support the model. So, hey, cool with me. All right.
Was it classic movies? Like seriously, like old school 40s, 50s, 60s movies?
Oh yeah.
Really?
So I'm a big fan of. I think I might have spoken to you on the side about this before. I'm a huge fan of Akira Kurosawa, his works, and I got hooked on that when I was in school. I wrote a series on Rashomon, which was it was a short film, but it was written shortly after shortly after World War II. And if you look at the statements being made in that, it's done in a very subtle way, but it was a very, I think, telling way to look at Japanese culture, their response post World War, what had changed, how they viewed occupancy and everything. And I just started watching the rest of the movies from there, and then I was having some trouble finding the rest of his works, and somebody pointed out, hey, you could probably find that on Netflix, and I started poking around, and sure enough.
I've definitely watched some documentaries. I've loved some of the documentaries that they've had,
Yeah.
most of which they didn't actually produce. But it's been a home for obscure and really good documentaries, as well as obscure, low budget zombie movies. That's what initially kept me there before they started doing Marvel shows and such. I'm a big zombie fan, so 4 or 5 years ago at the height of the Walking Dead fame, I was like, I want more zombies. I've always been a zombie fan though. That's not just a Walking Dead thing. So I started looking around at Netflix. I can't remember why I initially got it, but that's what kept me there, because I found all these crappy zombie movies as well as some gems. They don't make them like they used to, but
Right.
But then I started watching independent shows, and then I noticed that it had some of my favorite cartoons, but it's really exploded, especially with the Marvel stuff. I think this last year I think we're going to get 6 just in the last year.
Yeah.
I think we got a new season of Daredevil, all the new shows. I think we're going to, maybe in about a year's time. It's great. I don't mind this price hike, but they just did this to me a couple years ago. So it's like, all right, just make it worth it. Because if you don't make it worth it and Disney starts showing their stuff, maybe I go to Disney.
Whoa, fighting words.
Well, if Disney's going to be cheaper, mind you,
Right.
and they're going to show me, if maybe they had some kind of deal in the contract where they're like, they can show all this Netflix, Marvel stuff too. Because I don't watch Netflix like I used to.
Right. You used to like do like a hardcore binge run.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
So I'm okay with this for now, but they're still on notice.
Yeah.
You're still on notice, Netflix. I'm pissed.
Competition.
You messed this up. You messed up the whole Marvel movies thing. You're on notice still.
Oh man.
We're still dating right now, but that can change.
It's on that thin ice. I think you're hinting at some infidelity here.
Yeah. No, I'll give you some more money, but fix it.
All right.
Finally, what they're going to start announcing this, I think, this month. Yeah, in about a week and a half or so, you're going to start getting something, an email about it. And these new prices are going to roll out next month. But if you are a brand new subscriber as of this week, this Thursday, you're already paying it.
Boom. Well, get out your wallet.
Sucks to be you. Hey, what is a basic plan? I don't even know what that is. What's the basic plan?
Yeah, I didn't. I really didn't dig a whole lot into that when I first subbed either. Like I thought it had something to do with the your accessibility, what you could reach, or how far back in the archive. I could have sworn it was something about not getting the entire Netflix suite. Like you were limited in some way. Don't quote me on that though. That's what I thought. Guess we can
keep
find
talking
out.
for a second while I'm researching.
Yeah, I was about to say that's something we could actually find out in just 1 second. Honestly, that would make sense to me. I know Netflix really don't have any other branching paths. There isn't some weird streaming or music service or something weird like Amazon. If you subscribe to the Amazon digital service, you get access to music and everything else. But there's an Amazon Music channel, and then there's an Amazon for movies and shows, and if you want to catch a whole season.
Yeah, so it says here on their page, our basic plan allows you to stream TV shows and movies from Netflix on one device at a time in standard definition. What's standard def? That's not 480, is it? That's 720 now, right?
I think standard is still 480.
Wow, why don't you look that up while I read this? Here we go, on the fly. This plan lets you download titles to your phone or tablet one at a time. A standard plan lets you stream TV shows and movies from
Yeah.
Netflix on 2 devices at a time in high definition when available. Also, this plan lets you download 2 at a time.
Multiple users, multiple downloads. And
Yeah.
standard still is, as of today, 4:3 aspect ratio. That's 640 by 480.
Wow.
Rough, man.
Yeah, that is rough. That's like Nintendo times. It's old school tube TV Nintendo time.
Oh man.
I've never seen it. I've never had the basic plan. So, all right. Well, there you go. Basic plan. You're still at $8 a month.
I mean, I know what I just said about quality standards, but okay, I do have some standards. I want to give me some kind of median level. I'm not. Don't give me pixels. Yeah.
I see some old videos and stuff on YouTube and such of like how TV used to look, and I didn't mind it back in the day, but I see it now. I was like, God, that's blurry.
Yeah.
Well, I used to watch this, and I didn't care.
Hard to believe, right?
Yeah, not now. It's got to be at least 720, or I'm noticing for sure.
So we changed and we haven't, but mostly we have. Cool.
Yeah, let's get to the fun one.
Warner Brothers.
Hey, here we go. All right, let me get my bib on.
I mean, I thought you ate enough ribs already, but I guess you're on the main course. This is for WB and DC. I guess funny from depending on what angle you're looking at this from. This was reported from Vulture this week that moving forward, the DCEU movies will be more focused on individual movies such as Wonder Woman's recent solo movies, and those characters will move in their own direction. But they're still going to exist in the same cinematic universe and will probably meet up for movies such as Justice League. Yeah. No.
You got to read the rest of it. Otherwise, we don't get the full scope of trash here.
Okay. The new category of DC movies was hinted at a few weeks ago with the announcement of the upcoming Joker origin movie and unrelated movies from the continuity. These films will allow for filmmakers to tell independent stories with DC characters. Thoughts?
Yeah. Okay. You know what? Part of me likes this. But I think part of me only likes this because what they've done so far Man of Steel was okay. I enjoyed it. Wonder Woman was good. Mm-hmm. But, there are other attempts here, especially the ones with the team-ups, Batman v Superman. That's like a team-up. It's, you know what I mean by team-up. Suicide Squad. These sucked. They sucked. But these have been okay. Man of Steel, Wonder Woman have been okay. I understand where they're getting this. This actually feels to me. This feels like it's kind of falling more in line with what Marvel does. It's like it kind of felt like DC was trying to outdo Marvel by jumping right into let's put them all together and let's do this and this and this. That's kind of how I felt about it. But at the same time, I think they're completely weakening their product overall, and I think over time they're going to see sales are going to be lower because they are going to confuse more casual watchers, and they're just I think overall this is a bad move. And at the same time, I get this feeling that like Warner Brothers is just like after about 5 years or so now, they're just like big universe movies are hard. Maybe we shouldn't do this. That's the feeling I get from that. I'm sorry. I totally get this cowering feeling of this is hard. I can't throw big names and money at this and just make it work.
No, you can't. This is a classic example of what we've been speaking about with the cut between Marvel and DC on this, and trying to essentially replicate that formula Marvel was set on board. And as you're saying, it's not as easy as just throwing some actors and a couple of roughly loosely correlated plots on screen and tying them together. This is meticulous planning. You have to have an overall direction. You have to be leading towards the same convergence point, and it has to tie to a similar theme. The coolest part about what Marvel did and what makes it exciting is the long overarching projection that we have for that. You all know all of this is going focused, lockstep, marching towards the same direction. It isn't simply just coming in with as they go or just right off the cuff. I think that's one really tough thing about what they casted for, well, at least what they previously casted, Batman vs Superman, Justice League, and everything else. These don't have a 4, 5, 6 year plan down the road of what these movies are pointing to. They're just, this is out, okay, connect this Lego block. All right, this one's out, build this Lego block on top of that. Okay, now what? I don't know. Let's build another block.
Don't forget to throw in little clips of each of these characters with, by the way, designed logos on each one that Wonder Woman can watch. And Jesus,
I
mean that right there was the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it's God.
Want to see
so forced?
Here you go. You want to see the Flash movie? You want to see the Aquaman movie? You want to see? It's all here.
You know, when Marvel started this, almost 10 years ago, I mean, they had hoped that they could do a cinematic universe like this, but it was very tongue in cheek. You know, you had something that you had the after credits thing, which was still a very brand new concept at the time, with Tony Stark talking to Nick Fury at the end, and then you had the Hulk, which came out a couple months later, and you had Tony Stark talking to Thunderbolt Ross, and but it was very tongue in cheek, and it's like, oh, this would be awesome, but at the same time, no one expected it, and if it didn't work, they were still coming out with some good new movies, but it would, and then I think Thor came out, and you start hearing rumblings about, they're building this up towards Avengers. They, and I think the most universal complaint about how Warner Brothers has gone about this is like they're just like, here, and just threw everybody at you. What?
That doesn't work.
Here's your guys. Here's your Flash. Here's your Aquaman. Here's your Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman. Blah, just throw it all at you. Give me money.
It's a sort of rush answer to the Avengers. It's one thing, I think, trying to do your Avengers killer when you see Marvel about to come out with this this massive theme they've been pushing towards, but you don't do that overnight. You can't do that after one movie or whatever else. There's you can't beat such a long casted projected theme with something just right out of the shed.
Right.
That's not to spit on like production values. I mean, I get it. Like you pump a lot into it, but DC really needs to find its footing here, and it can do that. One thing that helped DC, I think, survive so long alongside Marvel is you had all these stories, not just individual characters, but some of the weird parallel universe stuff. Then every now and then, when it got too confusing and convoluted, you have an Infinite Crisis and crunch everything back into one continuum in one Earth. To me, though, just as a comic book fan, as just someone who follows this stuff over the years, DC has always felt like it's just a little more disjointed than Marvel. There's something about it when I'm reading a DC comic, when I'm watching DC work, that I will see Superman is sort of in his own world. Even though you'll see characters cross over and there's Justice League, I'll see Flash sort of doing his own thing. But like I look at them so much more individually than I do Marvel. There's something about Marvel that just evokes. I see Queens, New York City, Spider-Man. I'm instantly saying, all right, what about the Fantastic Four? About the Avengers? About this character, this character, this character. So many of them occupy the same space or near the same zone. It's no surprise in Marvel if they just pop up. So I don't know. Part of that with Marvel, at least, has always felt to me like more of a natural continuum. DC being just more segmented.
So I mean, looking at we've had 4 movies from DCEU. Mm-hmm. And again, I understand how at face value, like, well, geez, the 2 solo movies are the ones that have clearly been the most well received. We should be doing that. Look, Wonder Woman made money hand over fist.
Yes, it did.
But now that's part of there's a reason for that, and part of it is it looked like it was going to be a well done movie. It was well received, so it obviously made a lot more money because of that. You had everything with it. You had, first time Wonder Woman was getting a movie, but also part of why that did well is that people wanted to support the DCEU doing well,
right?
And the fact that it was going to be part of that, even if that story I mean, you could tell it was in World War One. Even if that story didn't have anything to do with what we were going to see in the DCEU, we knew that this was part of the DCEU.
Yeah.
And I think you're just, I think they're missing that. I think they're missing that. Now, Man of Steel at the same time, that did so well because we hadn't seen a Superman movie in a while.
Yeah,
and,
right.
People were excited, especially because the last time we'd seen any Superman movies, they were very, very bright and very colorful, and even the last one out of that continuity was a bit darker, kind of.
Right.
I mean, we were getting a different kind of Superman, and some people like it and some people don't. I'm like, about it. I still say, at the end when he's holding General Zod's head, and he's either got to let General Zod kill the people, or break his neck. Why didn't you just put your damn hands over his eyes? Why didn't you just put your hands over his eyes?
Oh man.
But that in itself is an argument on the quality of what we've been getting from these movies, which you continue to see horrible decisions like that in Batman v Superman. It's just, I think that overall that's the thing. It's just, it's like I said, it's like there's less of a thought in putting something together that fans are going to enjoy, and more of just, here's your guys, give me money.
Right.
And... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say real quick, to be fair, if I recall, I think in one of the Justice League films, someone did try that. I think it was like Darkseid. Like, someone put their hands over his eyes, like when he tried his beams. But they ended up refracting everywhere, and they still cut stuff.
Well, I'm sorry. Who did you say they did that to?
They did this to Darkseid.
Darkseid, that's right. Darkseid's eye beams, I believe, I'm going to get nerdy on you here, they're completely different than the heat vision that...
This is true.
I mean, those things follow around, and they do kind of explode from what I've seen.
And they even have an epic name, Omega Beams.
There you go, the Omega Beam. I mean, you can't put your hand over Omega Beams.
What are you doing?
I know that. I saw somebody try to do that last week. I'm like, you can't do that. Get out of there. All you can do is run away and hope that they'll hit something else. That's all you can do. Jeez. No, but it's... So I think maybe they do know that there's been an issue with quality here. Yeah. I certainly hope that this will mean the end of Zack Snyder. Now, and I say that before I've seen Justice League, which no one really knows how much he actually had to do with Justice League. They still say that the core of that film is what he envisioned, but yeah, we're not really going to know for a while. But I've not been a fan of how he's been doing this. So they're like, well, hey, so we're going to create a new category, and we're going to create new movies. They're going to, like this Joker story. Now, we talked about this a few weeks ago, and we saw this trend starting. So you're going to get this Joker origin story, and maybe these are going to be really good. But here's my question. Here's my question, though. You ready?
Hit it.
Here it is. Here's the question. I got a question for you. What if one of these other or non-DCEU continuity movies is really, really good, and now that's all people want to see?
Ah.
Then what do you do?
Well, at that point, that raises the bar for them. I'd argue that, I mean, when you're in the creative space, the one thing that's so tempting, when you tap into that vein of what's really popular, like what people want, well, you keep milking that. You milk that till you can't get anything else out of it. But I want to say, hopefully that calls you to something even higher and better and outdo it. I think that the last time they tapped into a vein like that, I think Nolan, rightfully so. I think it was a good master stroke of his to spow out, say, no, I'm done with this trilogy. And I'd hope from that point, yeah, people love that. Yeah, people want to see more of it. But okay, he's gone. Now what do you do?
That was such a well-told trilogy, though.
It was.
That I think people even were accepting of the fact that, okay, we're not going to get that. That is a start-to-finish story. And, even though I love the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, I cannot see that world in the DCEU. I can't see that Batman interacting with these characters.
Same. I couldn't.
Yeah.
So, I guess from an artist standpoint, ideally, I'd hope that inspires you higher. Will it do that? Probably not. I think that you'll probably see some sort of derivative of that, or that theme, or whatever it is that they tapped into somehow. Even if that involves telling that story with stories rather with sub characters and things like that. It's just
No, I think it's a really interesting concept how they're coming up with this new category that is completely and intentionally disjointed from the DCEU, and they're going this is all about the creators. This is all about the directors and the actors and the story that we're telling. We're not going to try,
right.
and I mean ultimately this is the problem, is that they've come to the point where we're not going to muddy this up with the whole DCEU thing. It's like, well, if you would have gotten that. Not even just completely right, but if you would have gotten that decent the first time, you wouldn't even feel that way about these movies.
No. Boy, oh boy.
And you're freaking Warner Brothers. You're freaking Warner Brothers. Might I remind you that the first Marvel movie, Iron Man, started from a bunch of investors, and that was their first movie.
Part of me wonders why. I guess why now are we seeing such a scrambled panic response to Marvel with this? When Iron Man
even from DC, you said Marvel.
I'm sorry. Well, it's response to Marvel. Sorry.
Oh, to Marvel.
Sorry.
Okay, I thought you said from Marvel.
No, and it's true, but there's this real scramble to really push and hey, well, get a competing piece, get DC side of it out there. I'm interested that we didn't see that type of response when the early Iron Man movie was coming out, or the first Thor and the rest. It's just like now that everyone's seen the writing on the wall and how awesome this stuff is because it's all tying together, we got to have that too.
There's been so many attempts to do this that have failed. The one that really comes to mind earlier this year was The Mummy.
Yeah,
I think that's
another
dead
good one.
now. I think that one's pretty much done. Now what I am looking forward to, we have not talked about this because some of my favorite stuff, we talk about Star Wars, but I don't talk about some of my favorite stuff like zombies and The Walking Dead and such. But
right.
One of my all-time favorites when I was a kid growing up, it was about zombies and it was about Godzilla. Oh, we're getting that. In fact, they come up with Godzilla and they did what was it, Skull Island earlier this year, and their Godzilla 2's coming out, and they're building. See, now that's awesome because that's old school, and that's why I was hoping this whole monster continuity universe would have worked out too. Because that's really old school. That stuff is fun, but get all those giant monsters together, just ridiculously fighting, and that I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Mecha Godzilla and Mothra and I almost said Donkey Kong. King Kong. And
throw some barrels
in there too.
Yeah.
And Godzilla growing up for me, he was my hero. That guy was so awesome. He's still awesome.
I say, that explains your personality.
Oh, there he is. I think that's a compliment.
Yeah.
But
right.
just that's just a much easier concept too. Like if they didn't have the same actors for that, who cares? Because it's Godzilla. And that's why they could do that back in the days. Like, well, we don't have the same guy playing Godzilla. Who cares? He's in a Godzilla suit. Let's throw him out there. Throw some guy in there. Hey, what? The guy over there working the grips. Put on that suit. Get out there. Be Godzilla. But
man.
Yeah. So, hey, Warner Brothers. I don't know if this works. Do you think they should? Do you think this is the best idea that they could have, or let's say, let's be content with their decision to branch out from the DCEU.
Right.
What do you do?
As terms of like story, like where do you go?
Yeah. What do you do with this? If you're all the execs and you're just completely dumbfounded as to why your crappy movies aren't making money, what do you do?
Honestly, without sitting in a DC boardroom, I think, firstly, take this a little bit outside of the whole merger concept of like Justice League. I think the key with anything is really go back to source material. Really look at where this stuff is based. I don't think you can make any strong piece that could really stand on its own without looking at a new innovative way to portray, all right, here's this character, here's the story. Where did this start? What made it big? and what direction can we really take it and tell that in a unique way. I feel we touch on origins. We a lot of current DC movies will scratch the surface of those and like that's enough of it. Scrape enough Aquaman paste off the top and all right, there you go, new toothpaste. Or like Flash, all right, you know enough about it now. Here, go for it. No, start examining. And I think dig into those closer. If you're going to move away from Justice League, there's plenty of things in DC away from Justice League. There's some awesome stories, mind you. I think you can tell those in a really cool way. And bear in mind too, DC, as far as just world-shaking, powerful characters, they got them aplenty. Besides even Darkseid, look, I think of Grand Arcs, like if you really want to tell them, a force like the Anti-Monitor, that usually pops up in Infinite Crisis, given, but there's so much material to work off of there. If you really want to get screwy, even if you want to start telling some of the alternate parallels, I doubt they'd ever do this. The twisted version of Superman, Superboy Prime. He had too high an ideal of what a hero should be, how they should be revered, how they should be praised, and everything, and to the point where he went insane and he just started going on the killing sprees and whatnot, and became the opposite of what he set out to be.
I would love to see a Superman Red Dawn.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It is not like this hasn't been hinted at before. I look at the part in Batman Superman where we had the flash of the broken dystopian future of the with Batman fighting against Superman and his legions. That's like one slice of some of the crazy stuff that happens out there in DC, and it seems to me they're a little nervous to tap into this whole the multiverse concept. Understandably so. In my opinion, a lot of that's a mess in DC. And that's why you got to have these crisis arcs to crunch everything back into one Earth, because it turns it's nuts. But even still, there's some really good one-off storylines within those. I think if you're really set on telling those off tales, this could be a boon. Now you're not chained to having to tie this back to Wonder Woman, having to tie this back to Superman, and having to tie this back to Flash. You can zoom in on those awesome storylines and tell those as they are, and leave it, and go about your way.
Yeah, as much as I would love to see a DCEU, I think with the way... Now, again, this is pre-Justice League. Maybe Justice League fixes everything. Maybe we revisit this topic then.
Maybe.
But, right now, the way I'm feeling is like, yeah, you should have just put this on the shelf for a while.
Yeah.
And just create these one-shots.
I think so. I really think so. And really go back into what made the really prominent arcs good. And I know even as a DC fan from a distance, sure, I've covered, the major stuff, but, usually if I sit down and really look for something, I'm like, man, that was good. Or, it could be something that doesn't even connect to, like, what was it, like, New 52 and the rest, but it was really good. So, depending where they base this stuff, depending where they look, it could do them a lot of favors. We'll see.
All right. You're on notice, Warner Brothers. Actually, no, you're not, because I don't care enough to put you on notice.
Ouch.
Are you still looking forward to Justice League now? Let me ask you a simple question. Are you looking forward to Justice League as much now that you've heard this?
Actually a little more, to be honest. Now,
Really?
Now that I've heard this, now I'm kind of seeing this as, okay, this might be the sort of cap on this pseudo arc that we started. You could argue this kind of goes back to Man of Steel and whatnot, and this is kind of the end of that road, the end of that bridge being built. I suppose anytime you reach the end of a legacy like that, I want to see what type of cap they put on that. Do you make that open to revisit? Do you not? How do you leave those characters in that part of the universe? That actually makes me more interested. So.
I'm not. I think I lost a good notch off of my interest.
Interesting.
Really.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I'm very much about this whole extended universe stuff, and these. I really do like it. That is a big draw for me. And as much as I give him shit, I bitch because I love.
Yeah,
that's
that's the
that's
key.
That's why I complain so much, is because I would love to see them do this. I don't need them to do it the same way that Marvel does it, and I don't necessarily even have the answer.
Right.
But it's you got to do better than this. You got to do better than Martha. You got to do better than Martha.
Martha went to jail for a while, but she's fine. So
what are you talking about?
Martha Stewart.
Oh, holy crap!
What about them?
Wow, they're in early 2000s called They Want Your Reference Back. Just like they want my joke.
Yeah. Left field and all day.
Yeah, let's just move on. I think. Let's leave that there.
Get a couple of snippets of news here coming out of NYCC, New York Comic Con. Never been to one of these myself, or San Diego Comic Con. I've always said it. One of these days, I'll make it to one of them. I'm gonna mention closer, PAX and the rest, but again, this is ongoing. Ends tomorrow. Still probably some cool news to come out, but some of the things that we have seen this weekend already on the highlight reel. Keanu Reeves had a new teaser that came out for his Replicas film. This was first pitched at the Toronto Film Festival 2016. Had a really, really good reception. And this marks a good return to sci-fi for him. The last thing I remember, at least I could be missing this, but I remember him in was in John Wick 2.
Yeah, that's not really sci-fi though, is it?
It's not. No, he's mostly been in action flicks, and but yeah. I think it's kind of like a homecoming. It's nice to see him making a return back to sci-fi. Trailer's out on YouTube if you want to go check it out. The thing that jumped out to me about this, I think it's Chris well worded, was it plays sort of like on this Frankenstein theme of trying to cheat death, make your own incarnation of consciousness, even if that comes into aiding your family. It follows the story of a neuroscientist who doesn't seem to just become the whole Frankenstein doc. I mean, he becomes the very thing that runs amok, and he's running things amok. So kind of classic story, cool spin on that. Looks cool. Definitely something I want to check out and keep following from a distance at least. Yeah,
the trailer's good. You gotta check that out. Yeah, I enjoy a good story where someone does the wrong thing for the right reasons.
Right.
That's usually really intriguing when it's done right. This looked a lot like it. I'm not going to say anything more than that. You gotta check out the trailer. This looks fun. So what, next year we're going to get that?
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Good stuff. The other interesting highlight we got coming out of this is something Square Enix is working on with comics, and I guess the first question that comes out of that is, would you put a VR headset on to read?
No.
My answer is no as well. Hey, give me a book. Give me a comic book. Give me a manga, something. I want to actually be able to flip the pages. That would drive me nuts. But apparently there's a lot of others that disagree with that. Square Enix are partnering up to take a crack at trying to revamp a classic print media art form, really trying to reinvent the way manga is read. In a couple of interviews, they've stated that out of everything else that's changed over the years, static print, black and white manga, that's an art form that's really stayed the same. It really hasn't moved. We really haven't pushed different boundaries for that. And I'd argue there's some mediums that, it's fine. I don't think you need to change it.
Right.
I very much like them the way they are, but the idea is to push more of a VR angle to create immersive comics. Ones where they're literally pulling you into the story, playing some dynamic pieces off with the panels, giving it a brand new distinct look, kind of like a 3D sculpt to it. Weird. Not an idea I expected. I know it's not brand new. Square's kind of pitched this around a bit during 2016, and also at this past I believe at E3 to a degree too, but the one you want to look out for, the main title they're trying to pitch with this is called Project Hikari, and we'll see where they actually go with it. I mean, VR.
I know where this is going to go.
Down the tube, maybe.
Well, no. This will go to adult entertainment, and that's where it'll live because it'll die everywhere else.
Man, so there's. This points back to VR again, man. I have yet to find something that will pull me in to make me interested enough to pick up VR. I'm not there.
Well, most people aren't.
So, Oh well.
It can sit up there with 3D and try to act like it's cool and trendy, but it's really just no one likes it very much.
Or with the well, there's a Virtual Boy. I'm sure you can sip
Yeah.
some popcorn with that. I mean,
Can we do we have to talk about the Virtual Boy whenever we talk about VR?
I don't know what we guys go back to that. I think so. I think it's a necessity at this point.
Oh my god. It's
But
so bad. Virtual Boy was so bad.
yeah, it was. It was. Red and black, red and black. But well, you don't want it for manga, if you don't want it for gaming, look elsewhere in gaming news. And fortunately, there was a little bit more gaming news that came out. Really excited about this one. I know this has been on a couple of show floors. The topic popped up at EVO this year, but there's some brand new gameplay footage of Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. New trailer out there for that. I'm going nuts because I'm still a 2D diehard. I adored the Blaze Blue series. Didn't think it would pop up again this soon. But in the same hand, I didn't think it would be dead after the last game came out in 2016. Loved this one to bits. Followed it since the first game came out, and I am super happy to see this in a crossover form. Now, this has a bit of a story behind it. Monty Oum,
Oh boy.
Monty Oum, who's you're so excited, who's passed away at this point. Was the creative mind behind RWBY, Ruby, Haloid, Red versus Blue, at least a lot of the choreography for that and those types of scenes. But he shared a fandom, well, at least he was a fan of Mori, producer behind Blaze Blue, and vice versa, Mori was a fan of him. So there was always this sort of artistic romance going on between those lines, and they talked for a while about the possibility of seeing their genres or their characters cross in some way. So while Monty himself won't be alive to see that, the fact that that's actually coming to pass, I think is really awesome. It's the first take I've seen from Ruby characters actually appearing in a fighting game, and a lot more. So you got Blaze Blue, Persona, Ruby, crazy crossover. They're creating like their own version of MVC, so I'm all for it.
You know, honestly, the most interesting thing you just said out of there is I want to ask you about Marvel vs. Capcom.
Ah,
Yeah, I have no interest in
I know.
the rest of that, but you've had that for a few weeks now, right?
Yeah,
How's that going? How are you doing there? We've covered that quite a bit.
we have. So in day one when I picked it up, I didn't get a chance to sit down and blast through the main line. But I said, the least what I want to do is get a chance to run through story and see how that feels. And you know what? It had its moments. It was fun enough. I don't really want to go back and go all the way through it again because it's sort of like a one-off thing. But there are some cool moments, like Ryu and Hulk, back to back against like a Legion. That was sweet. There's some cool moments with Rocket. Some of the I think MCU references felt a little forced. I really don't think you need that here, especially in a Marvel v Capcom game.
Like what?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna zoom in on Tony Stark, for example. Obviously, they couldn't get Robert Downey Jr. To voice that. They have someone like close to the mark, but the way they're pulling the Avengers team together, the way they wink at Guardians of the Galaxy and other things like that, it really feels like cut and paste right out of Marvel film, boom, right into this situation with Ultron Sigma, which is just weird to me. I don't think you need that. Like, I'm like, leave MCU where it's at. Like, Marvel vs. Capcom has been the most unrealistic thing for years. When I play this series, that's not the first thing I'm looking for, oh my gosh, tie-in, or like, oh my god, no. It's a random excuse to get a huge board of Capcom characters versus a huge board of Marvel characters, and it's tag chaos. And it's fun. Like, so it's been sort of weird seeing this focused in more of like a serious direction. I'm fine with Ultron Sigma. I mean, hey, that's fine. It's a cool enough concept in and of itself. I don't think they need the whole super serial bend. But here's what really comes in about this. Besides my gripes about lore and stuff like that, at the core, the gameplay it's solid. I mean, it's just good. I thought the gem system was going to be really dumb in some ways, and would play funny.
Wait. Did you say gem system?
Yeah, the Infinity Gems.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, all right. I'm sorry. Go on.
No. There's they bolster different attributes depending on which one that you have active or which one you're using, power, space, etc. But that mechanic works well. I thought the whole combo thing was going to be really, really lame with the auto cheese, like, go through the just mash out a combo. But that doesn't unlock the game for you. It is still very much manual, very much getting in, enjoying playing through with each character, and it's solid. And honestly, that's what I look for at the core of a fighter. I'm really glad to see that. The first thing I remember when I first got the demo for this, I was happy because I really felt some Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And I think that was partially because of how the launchers function. In MVC2, every character had their own unique launcher. There wasn't like a launcher button to begin your air combo. Spider-Man, for example, was like you had to launch like the down and heavy kick, the backflip kick, and then you could go in your combo. Strider was it was a punch that began that. And I really got a lot of those vibes right off the bat. That was a good sign. The final version didn't let me down in that regard. So the skinny, real short gameplay, thumbs up. Little corny, some of the story elements and stuff, and that's kind of like forced. I don't think it's needed, but good core mechanics.
How well does the Resident Evil characters fit in?
Oh, like let's see, it's Chris and Chris and
Jill.
Yeah,
or is it just Chris?
Chris and Jill. Okay. Was a line. But no, they work. And here's why. Like, honestly, RE has never felt in conflict with MVC. Like, I remember when Jill jumped in MVC2, it was just flat out fun. She was a great addition. It was hilarious because her specials involve like the crows and like the flaming zombies and Tyrant and rocket launchers and weapons. Chris focuses way less on the monster side of it and uses the artillery. He's got a different gun for everything, but it works. It works good. He kind of goes along the lines of characters like the guy with the bionic arm, like Spencer, and some of the more straight up like tactical characters. I know in MVC3 he fit really good alongside like Frank West, some of the others. That's pretty funny. So,
who's Frank West?
He was the guy from what was that game when it was like you were in that mall killing zombies? Was that Dead Rising?
Oh yeah, no, I don't remember the name, but I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, and he always had a shopping cart like full of tools and things to wipe out zombies with. Yeah, he was in MVC3 and he was really funny. He fit in well.
Okay. That was a Capcom game, huh?
Funny, huh?
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, give it a quick rating.
MVC, I'm excited that I can rate this higher than 3. I definitely like it better than 3, which is good. 3 really put me out of MVC for a while, and that's a lot saying because I adore 2 so much. It makes life pretty easy for me. MVC 2 was a 9 out of 10 for me. That was a spectacular game. MVC 3, that's one I put more down at honestly 5 or 6. I put this right now just for good solid core mechanics, about a 7.5. 7.5. Going an 8.
There you go.
It's solid. It's solid.
All right.
And I could be saying more about that once I really dig more, in depth into certain things. But hey, it's been fun.
Any news on upcoming DLC?
There what? I'm trying to see. I could have sworn.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to open a can of worms on you.
I think you did. I think you did. No, seriously. I thought I could have sworn I heard something announced. Hold on a minute.
Click.
Maybe not as of yet. I know there have been it's mostly patching right now. I'm waiting for the Hyper Super Expialidocious $80 edition, whatever that is. I'm sure that'll happen at some point, but nothing else major to report.
Who's your favorite guy?
Oh,
Who's your main? Is it Spider-Man?
Of course, always.
Is that Parker or Morales?
Parker.
Is that the only one in there?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. I don't think there's two. Unless
I don't know. I don't play. So.
Unless I'm missing something really weird, and there's no just a costume swap I'm missing. But no, I love Spidey, and surprisingly, Mega Man X is awesome. I grew up on the Mega Man X series. I didn't play Mega Man as much in MVC2. I felt he was cool, but he was just really, he was a little just straightforward and flat. But X here is cool. I've been waiting for years for X to appear anyway, and then they kept trolling us because Zero did, and Capcom just loves Mega Man these days. But
oh yeah,
that's an entirely different story.
So is that your tag team?
Oh yeah,
There it is.
I
Right.
always loved it. Oh, by the way, not instead of Tyrant in this, you might be interested. It's Nemesis.
Oh, that's fun.
That's a playable. Yeah, he first popped up in 3 as a playable, and he's kind of like the big heavy. He carries around a bazooka and stuff like that. But yeah, he's back in this one again.
Does he say stars?
Yep.
Okay, that's cool. He goes stars.
Yeah.
He's after the stars members.
Oh man.
I don't know if you know that or not.
Oh
That's
oh
why.
oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's why it says stars.
Right.
That'd be me, except for I'd say cheeseburger.
No. There's been references and little, if I recall, like little tiny cameos about Jill, but I need to correct that. I believe for representing Team Resident Evil, it's pretty much Nemesis and Chris.
No Jill?
Yeah, it's right. No Jill. She took a backseat. You had Stars Jill in 2. You had Wesker influenced Jill in 3, but she got backburner for this one. I think she'll pop up again though. I'm expecting her. So.
Huh. Kind of funny that they go with Chris and Nemesis.
Yeah. It's an info minute. Well,
I've been looking forward to Info Minute.
all right.
He never tells me what they are either, which is why I spoiled it a few weeks ago.
It's a grab bag, right? Well, Chris, are you big on AIM?
What
Like-
do you mean?
Did you ever use AOL Instant Messenger much at all?
Oh God, no, never,
You
never.
always stay away from it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say if you really need to get ready to put your last away message up because AIM is officially shutting down.
Wow, that is actually pretty cool. Because it's interesting. I knew that they were still around.
Yep. After many years, as of December 15th, AOL Instant Messenger will completely shut down. Basically, the AOL spokesperson, in fact, their VPs, he's acknowledged that people need new ways now to communicate online. Honestly, the platform for AIM has really just been overtaken. It's been overgrown by other things. One of his quotes was, AIM tapped into new digital technologies and ignited a cultural shift, but the way in which we communicate with each other has profoundly changed. This is, this goes back. AIM was one of the first and big successful instant messengers in the 90s, early 2000s. Man, I mean...
No, yeah, it's huge.
You look back and you think AOL, the whole You Got Mail deal, and it was synonymous with, instant communication. This follows a trend. MSN Messenger shut down in 2014.
Yeah, that made me sad.
Yeah, that sucked because I like that one too. Yahoo Messenger just shut down last year.
Yeah, that's I had to leave them a few years ago. I used to use both Yahoo and MSN. I liked Yahoo. Yahoo had some good stuff, but
It did.
yeah, that got pretty outdated too.
It did, and AIM joins the pile. So get back on Facebook, wherever else you were.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have any of those chat programs anymore. Yeah, I left those 2 years ago, and that's been it. I just don't use it like that anymore.
Same.
Interesting stuff. All right. See you later, AIM. Never really knew you well.
Yeah,
because I hated those damn discs. Oh, I hated those discs.
Yeah, I can't blame you. It was weird. I had a small resurgence for AIM back in like 2004 through like 2007. For some reason, when I was an undergrad, one of my department chairs loved to do AIM. Like he made almost a prereq when you were doing registration, or if you wanted to hit him with a quick question, he said, "Use AIM." I'm always on AIM. Like only use AIM. So I said okay, and I just had it installed during undergrad. But after that, I left it. So.
Wow, that's just crazy that it's going away.
20 years.
I figured one of those programs would at least integrate into something else.
Same. I think a lot of us were expecting that. There's some things that sort of just become iconic, even if they're not the industry captain anymore. They kind of fade into the woodwork. Like maybe the basic frameworks for that's there. Maybe they kind of morph into something else. But no, they just die in this case.
Jeez, I was getting in a better mood, but now I'm all grumpy again. No, I don't know. I really don't care, actually.
Oh, man. But that'll do it. So, hey, set your final away messages, whatever you got to do. If you were an instant messenger hound, you're probably crying because along with MySpace and the rest of the stuff that's died, this feels like the link to the old internet past is just, all set in sail. So,
MySpace tried coming back. Did that work?
I really don't think it did. Honestly,
or did it die again?
It really went downhill again. The only real main users I still see actively using MySpace are like recording artists and musicians. For some reason that's still a big platform for I can't say it's not a big platform anymore. It's a desired platform for people to go and maybe post a new cut of something they've been working on. Hey, here's something weird. The guy who did the music for most of the Armored Core series, Kota Hoshino, he posts music to MySpace like crazy. Even not like full tracks. Like before he released stuff on From Records, before stuff goes on like to iTunes, he'll do like little snippets of like things he's working on. He'll just pop it up to his profile.
Huh. Yeah, no, and MySpace is still around. I just checked it out.
Yep.
But yeah, that is very music centric now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. See you later, AIM.
But hey, that's gonna do it for us. Again, thank y'all for tuning in. Of course, hey, take a look if you want to tune in to our most recent movie review. That was today. Again, both of us just came off of seeing Blade Runner 2049. If you're unsure about wanting to see it, maybe yes, maybe no. We'll give you our take first.
Yeah, we're gonna do non-spoiler, then we're gonna do a discussion. But to give you a short answer, you want to see it.
I agree.
You want to see it.
I agree. All right, good stuff. Thanks all.
See you next week.
Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, there anything we go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but it'd be great if you could throw some support. You can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and maybe not find. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.